fine with that. And I want to make sure. Let me make sure that you guys aren't hearing all the background noise. Yeah, I'm going to put my noise gate on. Hello, everyone. Let me make sure that you guys aren't hearing all the background noise. There we go. That should be a little bit better. Yeah, I'm going to put my noise gate on. Hello, everyone. Let's see, because I want to make sure you guys can still hear my voice. I might just have to move my microphone a little bit closer. There we go. That should be a little bit better. Let's see, because I want to make sure you guys can still hear my voice. I might just have to move my microphone a little bit closer. I think that might be about as good as we're going to get. All right. Well, welcome to the stream. Let me make sure I can see the chat here. I think that might be about as good as we're going to get. Today, we are going to be making some stuff. Here, let me actually do this. Welcome, welcome, one and all, to the stream today. We're making some stuff. Now, let me make sure the music is not too loud. Here we go. All right, everything looks fine. Today, we are making... Oop, let me do that. Today, we're making some new text assets. We have a nearly empty media pool. And we're going to add some stuff to it. Let me move this out here. Always, always, always organize your media. Because when you're looking for stuff, you want to make sure you can find it. We got reference, we got timelines. I'm going to move this out into here. And what should we name this? Name it text effects. And we're going to want a whole bunch of fusion compositions. But not right now. Right now I'm just going to grab one. And we'll close effects back out there. Something else I need to remember to do is keep an eye on the chat. Because that is something that I consistently forget, is to read my chat. All right. Here we go. We'll make that invisible for now, and we'll lock it. And who we're looking at today is the man himself. Let's see if you guys can see this. No, you can't. Is Markiplier, because he has so many interesting text effects in his content, and I want to see how a lot of these are made and then remake a lot of them. So we've pulled in some footage, 720p, 30 frames a second. That's all we really need. And we're gonna see if we can remake some of this stuff. So what I'm gonna do is split some of these clips here and see how we can make like this, for example. It's crazy. And we have a couple different things going on here. This one, you've got two different bits popping up. 1, 2, there's a bit of a shake, and then it just goes out. Now we can use here, I believe we have, if I type this in, Magic. Yeah, we've got Magic Zoom, we've got Magic Animate, which is by Mr. Alex Tech, I believe. So, oh, look at that. He even has some some text. Magic animate title, magic animate. Here, let's see what this is. I completely forget that I have a lot of these out here. Let's see, title, text. This is just hey. So if I move this, okay. So let me make this white. Actually, we'll make it red. That way we can see what we're playing with here. So does it just pop in? Or it looks like, okay, so we need to be the ones who are gonna, yeah. So we're the ones who set all the effects for this. However, I'm not looking for something where I need to set up a bunch of different controls. I'm not looking for something that is gonna be reliant on other features. What I want here, realistically, in my media pool is a whole bunch of different types of text where I can drag and drop them. They're gonna run their effect, and I can make minor adjustments more or less with just the transform controls. So this, for example, transform controls. So if I want it to pop up over here, right, we can copy this. We will crop it down. So for example, if I want this to pop up just in the corner here, right, I could do that. Or if I wanted it to come from the side even, right, come out and be like, whoa, and then go out. That's what I'm after. Eventually, what we'll do is we'll create drop-down menus so we can change where it comes from. And it essentially will work as a switch. There's a thing called Infusion, a switch node. And what you have here is, if I hit this, you've got input 1 and input 2, and I can change with a keyframe what input it's coming through. So you could do, I think there's such thing as a multi-switch somewhere here. Multi-switch or multi-merge. There's a couple different things you can do. Or you could even set up multiple switch nodes. So that, for example, you would have input 1 and input 2, and then that would feed into another input 1 and input 2. So you could have, for example, big text and then small text, and you change which text you're using with this switch. And then with this switch, you could feed into another switch. Essentially, it works as a pyramid. And you're going to mess with a whole bunch of different options and then eventually get a media out. That's what we'll figure out eventually. For now, I just want to look at this. How's it going? And with that, the first thing that you need to do always, and this is why we have reference footage, is look at a reference. And so with this, we see that we're getting text coming up. It's a little bit smaller, it looks like, as it comes in. It's got that shake. And then it zooms away. And that whole thing happens over the course of like a fraction of a second. It's like half a second that whole thing happens. Something else to be on the lookout for, and what I'm actually going to do here. Okay, so timeline frame rate is happening over the course of 60 seconds. Is making sure that your frame rate is proper, because if you do a effect, or if you change your playback speed or your timeline frame rate, but you have something else set as a different frame rate, you're going to end up with something being too fast or too slow once you drag it into a different timeline. And I'm mostly going to be using this in 60 frames a second, which is why I wanted to check up on that beforehand. So I'm going to zoom back out now. And we're going to copy exactly what we're seeing on screen just for this. And it looks like it's 2 different text effects. So we're gonna copy that with the question mark, throw a merge on top of there. And with text, you have some interesting options because you can have, or when you're moving text, you have interesting options. Because if you want to move the text itself, you have the option to use a transform, which is going to move the whole thing, right? So if I do this, or you know what, I'll take this one and I'll move it down. Then you can have, if you have your text already moving, you can then move your text, or you can move your text independently of its own effects. And what that means is if I take on this side my layout and I'm going to move this to here, then at frame 8, I'm going to put it back to 0.5. Then no matter where, and I'll move this off so it's not distracting. Actually, I'll just throw those both on the same monitor. Then no matter where I move this going, it's always going to do that, which is why it's useful to have another transform, because then I could do something like this, right? And we'll set this actually right at the 0, and I'll move it to the 9 as well, put it to 0.5, right? Or, you know what, I'll do something that you guys can actually see. Let me do this. Put this at 0.5. And then I'll keyframe this to move over here, so that the text is always going to move up. But now if I want it to move somewhere else, I get to add that in as a little bonus. I am going to get rid of that transform now because I don't need it. Oh, here we go. And I'll move this down. So that's why it can be useful to have a transform independent of your actual text animation. So now I'm going to figure out how to make this as modular as possible. And I do like the idea of having this set up so that those 2 pieces of text are independent, and then I just have a transform where I can now move them wherever I'd like. So I think that is what we're going to do. Also, when you're doing more advanced text animations, you will want to do them in the Fusion page of Resolve as opposed to in the editing page. And the reason that you want to do that is because of the flexibility that you're going to get. If I was to do what I wanted to do in the Fusion page, in the edit page, I'm going to need to animate this with my settings. And let's say, for example, we have that go like this, and it's small, and then we make it to frame 10. I'll get rid of that. And then it's back to being full size, and it's at 0. So I get, whoop. Then, if I want to do any keyframe editing or any spline editing, it all needs to be done in here, which it's nice they have it in the edit page, but it really isn't great. Like, you can do some custom curves so it's a little bit smoother, but it's really not, it's not great because I can't do them all at the same time. They're not all naturally out, and you have a drop-down menu, right? Where you can be like, oh yeah, and now I can see everything, but again, it's not perfect. So, more or less, this is if for Adobe people, this is an After Effects talk. You're not gonna do After Effects work in Premiere Pro, and you're not gonna do Fusion work in the edit page, right? So position Y for this. There's your position Y. Do this, do that, right? And you can see even for some stuff, you don't get the same kind of animation, right? So let me do this and bring that down. So now it's a bit smoother, right? And you could do that in the edit page if you wanted. But I mean, why not just instead set your keyframes how you want and then go into your spline editor, right? That makes so much more sense, so much more control with that as well. And let me check on the stream really quick because I do want to make sure that we are not accidentally putting our bitrate too low. Let's go to here. Let me go back. Turn that on. Make sure I'm muted. Okay. that would have been pretty bad. Playing my own stream content or my own stream over top of my mic. Let me go to the actual video. Oh yeah, everything looks fine. Right on. Boom. All right. And we're back. So back to text editing. Let's see, because I want a font that's similar as well. I don't want something that's too blocky like this. So this is the Hausa. Let's see what fonts we have to work with. I do have a font in mind that is in the F category. There's this one. But even this one is a little bit blocky in comparison. Oh, excuse me, this one's more blocky. I don't want too much rounded corners with what I'm going for. So let's see. What else do we have to work with? Ooh, this one's not bad. Can I get a bold? I can't get a bold of this one, unfortunately. Realistically, I should have a... Oh, this one's pretty good. Which one's this one? Aquino. I like it. It's a bit wide. But... We'll come back. We'll come back to that. I'm going to actually put a note down for Aquino. Aquino. Aquino, and let's keep going down the list. Calibri. Calibri actually doesn't look bad. If I can find a bold. Let's see, bold italic, but it's very oh wait. Calibri bold italic might be good. That's not bad. Calibri bold italic. Add to the list. Calibri bold italic. What else we got? I'm also going to switch up our music here a little bit. Let's go for... Here we go. Bump things up a bit. What else do we have? Oh? Of course, it's Comic Sans. We have Comic Sans. Do we have a bold? Oh, that is bold italic Comic Sans. How thick can I make this? There is no thickness. There is no thickness with your first shading element, unfortunately. I could do a second shading element, make it white instead of red, then just buff up the thickness and move the tracking out. But then I lose the hole, and I don't get the hole, unfortunately. So I'm gonna put this back down and disable that. And we're gonna keep on going. What else can we use? Let's see. Oh, this one's not bad. Generic. It is literally called generic font. That's classic type, standard. Ooh. I don't hate that. Let me bring the tracking in. Comparing this to, was it Aquino, and comparing this to Aquino, I like it a bit better. Aquino's a bit wide. And then the other one was Calibri. Calibri bold italic. I think I'm sold on this one. Generic. We have a winner so far. Let's see if anyone can throw the literal generic font. Oh, this one's pretty cool. Where did I get this one? Hurricane. Oh, this one's cool too. Hausa. I have so many fonts in here, I forget all the time about how I have a whole, like, I have so many different fonts here. A lot of them are cool. I rarely use so many of these, but I have them just in case I'm actually going to need them. This one is permanent marker. I'm familiar with it. It's a little bit too stylized for fast text animation. Because when you're animating fast text, you want it to be clear. You don't want it to have too much style. Because if something doesn't look like how it normally looks, hey, that's where was it? Waltograph. That's the Disney font. If something doesn't look how it is looking normally, and then you're animating it super, super fast, then people can get the gist, but it's not complete. Like, people might still miss it. Or they might miss what it's supposed to say. So we're going to use this one. So I'm going to copy, paste. We're going to take this, get rid of the other one. We can get rid of you. And we're going to move this here. Add that back on. How's it going? And boom. Now we've got these two. Next, we need this to come right up from the bottom, and we also need a camera shake by the looks of it, or just a general shake. We could use a perturb. But I think we would use that on... But we have a different option. So we can use the perturb anywhere, and perturb is a modifier that you can put onto different elements. What it does is it will jitter a specific property. So you could put, for example, if I put the go in here and I put a perturb, which you can't see right now because I have a window over it. But you put a perturb on size, and then I hit play. Right now, it's going to mess with that. Now, I can add some more wobble to it and a bit more speed, and I'll bring the strength of this down, and you can see now it's just jittering it a whole bunch. And the more I increase the speed, the wobble, the strength, the more it's going to affect everything. Now, you can do that for things like, I wonder if you can do it for the font. You can. That would be interesting. Yeah, you can't do it for the font. Let's remove the perturb and leave that back at 8. And I was thinking we might do it for the transform, but having just a shake instead, I think will be a little bit better, because if something already has a purpose, if something exists. Hey, Ganesh, how we doing? Good to have you here right now. Or today we're making a whole bunch of different text effects. So we're using some reference footage. Here's what we've got on the right side here. Here's what we're working with. And we're recreating this. So we have our text, we have a font that we want to work with. I'm from Canada. So I'm out in the Great White North. Where are you coming from today? Do we have different countries joining? Different countries joining the YouTube stream. Overall strength. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of like that. That's a bit jittery though. Up in the top there. Yeah, where are you coming from, brother? Oh, from India. Okay, so what time is it over where you are? Let's see, overall strength. I'm actually going to bring that down. I think I like that a little bit better. I'm going to bring the speed up. Ooh, never mind. Going to bring the speed down. Speed and overall strength down. There we go. And I think that is it. One of the greatest things about Fusion is being able to change, or to being able to copy your nodes over, and then you can just change. You can change things from there. You can also create what's called an instance node. And an instance is, it's similar to a copy. I believe I do this and then I do Alt V, or let me see. Where's my paste? Control Shift V. Control Shift V. You paste what's called an instance node, and it will have all the exact same properties of your other nodes. You can see if I zoom in here, it's 1:20 a.m. Brother, you are in for the long haul. Hats off to you. You're here for it. Bro, happy to have you. Thank you for joining. So you can see here, we've got a whole bunch of green elements, or all of our elements, all of our properties, they're outlined in green. And that is because this camera shake, all of the properties that we have here are being transferred onto this one. And so instance nodes are a great way to be able to edit the settings of multiple nodes without having to worry about, okay, I need to change this one, then I need to change that one. You can just make changes to one. So we can look at overall strength. Overall strength is 0.208 on this one. Now if I change the properties on this one to like 0.5, we'll use a nice round number. The properties on this one are also now 0.5. An efficient way to learn DaVinci Resolve. I would say the most efficient way to learn Resolve is going to be making as many things as you can, as fast as you can. And at first, I wouldn't worry too much about the speed at which you make things. And I'll tell you, I'll expand on that a little bit so that you have a better idea with what I'm talking about. Obviously, you need to make videos. That's the number one thing. so many people, they're like, okay, I want to learn editing, I want to learn Resolve better, but they're not making content. They're watching a lot of tutorials, but they're not actually making stuff. So here's what I would say. Pick 3 creators that you enjoy watching. Look at the effects that they do. And then you can download that footage. There's a lot of YouTube to MP4 downloaders. Download that footage or just watch it on YouTube and try to figure out how they make those effects and then remake them in DaVinci Resolve. And I'll use this, you're actually about to view this live, that we're using this guy as reference, and he has a text effect on screen. We can see that he has 1 element, 2 elements of text come up. We can see that they're jittering a little bit, and then after they finish a jitter, then they zoom out. So in my brain now I'm thinking, okay, how is he doing that? He's using a transform to move them from down to up. Then he has a camera shake on them so that they jitter a bit, and then after that he animates the zoom so that they zoom out and they get really small. How much time have I taken to learn Resolve? I've been video editing since late 2020, so up to now that's gonna be, we're on year 5 now. So I've been doing this for a little bit more than 4 years, but a lot of it comes down to how much you put in, because I've taught people stuff who they've been doing Resolve even longer than I have, but they haven't been doing the same things, or they've been doing one thing. So maybe there's someone who is really good at making videos, but they don't do anything in the color page, which I'll show you. The color page is this, right? So maybe they do a lot of videos online and they're really good at what they do, but they're not doing any type of color correction on their videos, or they're not doing any type of color grading. Or maybe they're really good in Fusion making motion graphics, but they might not be so good with their general editing and storytelling. So I wouldn't base too much of skill and experience off of time. Obviously that's a factor, but you need to also look at where you're learning. Nice. Yeah, 4 years experience. How long have you been editing for, Ganesh? And I'm gonna keep on going on this as well at the same time. And you know what? We're gonna do the same camera shake on both of these, but what we're gonna do is move the randomness up on this one a little bit and move the randomness down on this one a little bit. I'm going to add just a little bit of deviation so that the shake isn't exactly the same on both of these. Here we go, overall strength. Push that down. There we go. Started 2 months ago. Nice. Now, did you start in Resolve? Or are you still looking around at different softwares? A lot of people, yeah. Okay. Free version of DaVinci Resolve. The free version is incredible to learn in. So the free version, because I started back when we were in Resolve 16 back then. So DaVinci Resolve 16, and then I think 16.5. Let me move this up. See. I think we're getting a little bit more shake on this one than we are this one. Here we go. So the free version of DaVinci Resolve has, or back then it had, I would say, probably 80% of what's available in the full version, which is incredible, because how often is there a software that you can just use and you're gonna get most of what's available, right? And even then, you want to become a CGI filmmaker. Okay, so Fusion is gonna be super, super useful, because in Fusion you can do, like, Fusion is known for its special effects and a lot of, let me do like a 3D shape here for you. Or shape 3D, here we go. Shape 3D. So Fusion, you can do a lot of 2D stuff and a lot of 3D stuff. And so let me change this to like a cube, and then we'll throw a light on it. Or you know what, we'll throw the full shadows, and then we'll do like this. So Fusion is going to be good for you then, because that's where you're going to be doing a lot of your 3D compositing. That's where you're going to be creating a lot of different effects. And so I'm just showing you an example here of something super simple. Like if you wanted to make an object, have it glow a little bit, then you do something like a 3D shape. Did I learn any 3D software like Blender or Maya? I've learned a little bit of Blender. And that was more out of necessity than by choice, because there's certain things that you'll want to do that you just won't be able to do in softwares like Resolve, because Resolve is first and foremost a video editing suite. Right? It's not a 3D modeling and 3D animation software in the same way that Blender is. Right? Blender, you can do a lot more 3D stuff. It's built around 3D modeling and animation, whereas Resolve is made for film. So if you wanted to do more advanced 3D effects, Blender is the software to learn. And then if you want to composite them into film, like combine them with footage that you already have, that's where Resolve comes into play. So a lot of filmmaking comes from, or a lot of the overall result you're going to get will come from having a diverse skill set. So like being able to do something like this, and then maybe you're going to do like a camera. We'll do a camera 3D, and then render 3D. Throw that on here. I'll move this back. Right, because you can do some really good 3D animations in Resolve. It's just that it doesn't have the same plethora of tools that that Blender has. Right? It's just not the same. So, for example, if you wanted, there's actually a little film I was thinking of doing. And if I do this, here we go. I'll bump up these modifiers a bit so that you can see a bit more of what I'm talking about with just some simple animations. Let me do this up to like 360. Do this up to 360. Right, I'll bring the speed down. So even something just as simple as animating a cube, right? You can do a lot of that in, a lot of the simple stuff in Resolve. What time is it here now? Over here, it's about 3 p.m. So you're just getting into night, and I'm getting into more the late afternoon. So like we are literally opposite sides of the world. All right, something else. I'll give you another tip, because you're just learning. When you are using your reference footage and looking at something that you want to recreate, very, very good tip is to merge your reference footage over your effect so that you can compare and see exactly what things look like in terms of your animation. So I'm looking at this right now just for size, right? You can see that my text is relatively small compared to this guy's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my merge up, and I'm going to put a transform after. Now, Ganesh, how much have you learned in Resolve overall, and what are the areas that you want to learn when it comes to filmmaking and CG? I'm gonna need about there. I'm gonna go 1.85. First year student of BTech. Now, what is BTech? 'Cause I'm not super familiar. Oh, Bachelor of Technology. That's what I'm guessing. I'm just Googling it. Bachelor of Technology. Okay. First learning color grading. Oh, color is so incredible. You're gonna love it. Oh, also, I need to move these. I need to move these up, or I need to move one of these down. Here we go to like this. And the other can come down a bit as well. I'm actually going to size these down. So first, you're learning color grading. So what is influencing your decisions on what you want to learn? Do you have a particular niche you want to get into first? Like you want to become a colorist and then slowly get into special effects? Give me an idea kind of what your roadmap to success looks like. Basic of fusion color grading. That's a good area to start. A good spot to start. And I can tell you right now, if you learn fusion and color grading, you're gonna have a ton of people asking you for advice, asking you different questions, because most people spend their time all in here, right? Most people will spend most of their time in the edit page, and they'll go through the inspector and they'll go through the effects. And that is, I'd say that's probably what 75% of people do. That's where 75% of people spend most of their time. So many people are scared of the fusion page because they're terrified of learning node order. It is a lot confusing for some people, or for a lot of people. And then the color page, I think most people believe that there's no use in learning it. Most people don't know. But there, you can enhance your stories in so many different ways through color, right? It's one element of storytelling. So it's super, super useful. So 100% you're moving in the right direction. Am I a student, freelancer, filmmaker, or YouTuber? So I do both freelance and YouTube. So I've been making tutorials here for a little bit on YouTube. I started off doing gaming stuff back in 2020 just to learn the software. And that's actually a great way to learn the software, is by making any kind of content that interests you. You can start up a channel and make whatever you feel, right? You don't have to be worried about, views, especially if you're not interested in doing YouTube. Then just making videos and throwing them up there is nice because you have a little archive, right? A little track record of things that you've made. Right, so I started off as YouTuber, then I realized I enjoyed the editing process a lot more than filming YouTube videos, doing this, doing that, and that's where a lot of the money is in YouTube, right? If you can build a brand as a creator, then you can make good money, but that takes more than just posting videos. You need to be on different social platforms. You need to be studying trends, following trends. Right, so there's a lot that goes into building a brand, which is something most people overlook. But freelance is where I do most of my work when it comes to video editing. What is my age? I recently turned 23, so I've been doing this since I was 19. Wow. Saying that aloud, I'm realizing how much time has actually passed. That's incredible. Yeah, because I've been doing this this is year 5 now. Which is, again, crazy to think about. I'm actually going to size this down. Again, size it down. Move it over to here. Same thing with this one. Size it down. Move it over here. I like that. But I think I am going to keep both of these completely centered. You're just starting at 17. Oh, bro, you've got so much time then. As long as you stay consistent, right? As long as you stay consistent, then you'll be fine, right? Well, consistency and growing. Because I've met people who they've been consistent, but they've only done the same things over and over, and they haven't done any new types of content. They've never done any new projects. And so, for example, people in the Adobe suite, right, where they're paying a monthly subscription for the entire Creative Cloud, and they're only using Premiere Pro, right? Then they end up falling behind because other people will learn After Effects. They'll get into Adobe Audition, which for Resolve, that would be the Fairlight page, right? And they'll fall behind because they don't learn new things. Yeah. Go to college from 9 to 5. Okay. Yeah. That's a whole part of building your dreams. If you dream about being a full-time filmmaker doing CGI, or you want to be an editor, then you do what you have to until you can pay your bills, right? Or you pay your bills working your 9 to 5 or going to college, working your job. And then once you can make enough money freelancing, then you move that to be your full-time income, right? When I was learning YouTube, I was working, I think 9 to 10. So I'd go into my job. I was working in a factory, right? You'd come in at 9 a.m., work until 10 p.m., and then go to the gym for a couple hours, come home, work on Resolve for another 2 hours, get 5-6 hours of sleep, do it all again the next day. And it takes a lot of work, but it's so worth it. Yeah. 3 hours efficiently. Yeah, if you can even put in an hour every day, right? As long as you're putting that work in, then you'll do just fine. Let's see. Yeah, so we've got our shake. Next, we need the animation on there. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to completely disconnect. I'm going to disconnect. Actually, I guess I don't need to. I'll just throw this on here. And what I like to do when I'm making an effect... Oh yeah, I don't have a Discord. I don't have a Discord or anything, but I'm always streaming, so we can be friends and we can be chatting here and stuff. And like, I'm always happy to answer any questions about Resolve. And I'm always like, I enjoy teaching. So let's see here. So yeah, 100%. One of the things that I'll always do whenever I'm looking at reference footage is I'll watch frame by frame to see exactly how the animation takes place. And so when I look at just our media 1 here, right, and I'll zoom in as well, right? It comes up, first word comes up, it actually sizes in a little bit, and the animation starts fast, slows down, then the other one, same thing. Then they both do the little shake and go out. So what we're gonna do is we're actually going to mimic. We're gonna mimic that exact same movement. You don't have any social media aside from YouTube? Yeah, that's all right. Honestly, until you are doing Let's move this up. Sorry, I'll be doing this at the same time as chatting, so I might be a little bit to here. I might be a little bit inconsistent. I think that's about good. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, until you have like a reason for being on other platforms, then it doesn't really make sense to have them. I need more. I guess I technically don't need. I'm looking at, so I'll explain what's going through my head. I'm looking at this, and there's a little bit of shake taking place as the text is moving. You can see the tilt. It tilts a little bit to the left, and then by the time it makes it up, it's a little bit to the right. And I think what I might do for that is go to my angle here. Yeah, I'll go to my Z angle, and I'll throw a perturb on there. And that's gonna adjust it ever so slightly. I'm gonna bring my strength up to 5 and the speed up. I'll bring it, yeah, we'll bring it to 5. I'm gonna put the speed down to 5 as well. Didn't have any friends, so that's why no platforms. Platforms are also a good way to make friends, which I know sounds a little, which I know is a little bit contradictory. Here we go. I'll move this to here. I'm gonna drag this out to frame 21. Something you should do if you don't have a Discord account, then I would make one and then join the official DaVinci Resolve community Discord. The community Discord is an incredible spot. Let's do this. I'm gonna bring this down from here. Bring that all down to 0. I think I'm gonna want my strength up actually. Strength and speed. On my angle. Oh, nice. Let's see. I'm bringing this up even more. Let's put this at like 25. Strange, I'm not actually seeing. Oh, this is path 1. Let me see, can I remove? Oh, let me turn off path 1. Interesting. Displacement. Oh, that's why. I need to have this at 1 right from the get-go, I think. I put that up. Get rid of the keyframe, and then yeah, join the DaVinci Resolve community Discord, I believe it's called. And then from there, here we go. Yeah, and then from there, there's tons and tons of different people. Like I actually have somewhere in here, because I have this little tips screen rotating. There's a whole bunch of really good tips that I throw in here. One of them is to join the DaVinci Resolve official Discord. Okay, so this. I have my starting value at 0. if I move this to here. Oh, it might be because I don't have the wobble. Yeah, because I didn't have the wobble up. Okay. Move my wobble to here. Here we go. Boom. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So now that I have that, I'm actually going to copy this. Throw one down here. Boom. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the same text so that, yeah, here we go. I'm going to copy the same text from here. I'm going to move this down a little bit more. And now this looks the same. Hey, Menlo, welcome to the party. Right now, we are remaking some text assets. But we're going to add a little bit of extra randomness in there. So we're going to go into our perturb. I'm going to bring up this all the way up to 40. We're going to bring the wobble up a little bit. And the speed down. Let's see. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's keep the speed up. Keep the speed up. How's it going? And we're going to move this a little bit down so it's not touching. We love some good randomness. That we do. Yeah, so camera shake in Fusion is interesting because I rarely use it, but you can change your frequency, you can change your filter, you can change your edge. Oh, you can actually wrap. I don't know what you would use wrap with camera shake, but I have a couple good ideas. So this does not look exactly like this guy's, like Mark's so far. And that is because we need to go into keyframes. Oh, no worries. You don't need to be good with English. Being good with English comes second to being good with the tech. So this is text 1, this is text 5. So let's see here. And I believe this is our layout. Yeah, this is our layout. So what we're gonna do is go into our spline editor. So now this is where a lot of magic happens. This is where you're gonna smooth out. So a meaning of randomness. So when something is random, it doesn't have any kind of meaning to it. So if I wanted something to shake and I wanted the shake to be kind of unique, like let's say if something is shaking and it's going from here to here to here to here, and it's just doing that, if I was to add some randomness, it might go from here to 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 here, and so it adds an adjustment, kind of how things, if there was to be an earthquake, everything would naturally shake by itself and it wouldn't be exactly the same. So randomness keeps things from looking very janky and very much the same. So something that I want, here we go. I want to focus on this keyframe here, the purple one. There we go. Glad I could help. I want to focus on this keyframe here. This is for text 5. Actually, we're going to focus on text 1. Text 1 first, because we want work on everything chronologically. So I'm going to disable, actually no, I'll disable these. Layout angle, I don't need to worry about because that's with our perturb. The displacement is what we want to focus on. And so what I'm going to do, oh, I also forgot, I need to put a size keyframe here as well. So we're going to add a size keyframe, and we're going to size this down by a tiny bit. And you can, here's our size keyframe difference. You can see there's like a pixel or like 4 pixels of adjustment. It's basically nothing that happens. So this one I don't even need to worry about smoothing out. So I'm going to disable the size, keep everything focused just on here. And if I drag a window over my keyframes, I can flatten them. And I can see this is coming up super fast, and then it slows down a little bit more as it gets to the end there. So what I'm going to do is make this the opposite of linear, and I'm going to drag that out just a little bit. And something to do whenever you're messing with your keyframes in the spline editor, you always want to make sure that this line stays straight. The reason you want to make sure it's staying straight is because if I twist this accidentally, now when my animation is finished, right, or when I want it to be finished, there's still going to be movement. Now, if you want a bounce effect, like you want a bouncing ball, for example, to go like this, then that's all right. Then you have a little bit of like kickback. Yeah. With this, if I play this back now, I can see it flies up and then it slows upon, here we go. Oh, and I'll turn this off. So it flies up and then it slows as soon as it reaches this top area. It goes whoop, whoop, like that. Whoop. Now I just do the same thing for the going, and realistically what I should be doing is waiting until I have this one fully complete, and then copying it and adding my minor adjustments to the other one, because this one is going to be more or less the same. Right, you can see, whoop, it's going to be more or less the same, just with a little bit of variation. So if I look at exactly when this one comes up, I'm going to get rid of my spline editor just for now, because I want to see, or I want to compare mine right here to this one when this one's coming up. So I'm going to look and see this is labeled text 1.6. I'm going to change it just to text. Oh, there we go. Text 2. Here we go. So I've got text 1 and I've got text 2. And renaming your nodes can help keep things very, very organized, which you need once you start getting into some more advanced effects. I'm actually going to put this as top text and this one as bottom text. So now I'm going to grab all my keyframes on my bottom text by dragging a layer over it. Oh, actually, I think I missed one more. There we go. And I'm going to bring this down, boom, just like that. So now, got this. And that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I think we just add a little bit more randomness into here. I'm going to change the seed value. Okay, in modifiers, you have value, you have random seed, and then you'll always have strength, wobble, and speed. quick crash course on modifiers. Which vid is this? I want to go watch it later. This is editing and chatting. So the way modifiers work, you've got 5 very simple properties to grasp. You have value, which is the set value that you are perturbing, that you're making adjustments to. So in this case, our set value is 0.279, and that is in our layout. So that's for our rotation, our angle Z, which is going to change something moving like this, right? And the set value that it's rotating around, or that it's moving, that it's using as an origin point, is 0.279. So it might start here on the slider, and then it might go out a bit, and then in a bit. And so it uses it almost as a compass, or as a point of, oh, that's you can search up horror compilations. There's horror compilation videos, and you'll find what you're looking for. But the value acts as an origin point, so the entire perturb will act around the value that you set. Random seed will change the values within your strength, wobble, and speed. So if I go to the going and I switch random seed, you can see it looks like it's shaking. And it's almost, random seed is almost a pattern. So if you were to randomly generate a number, or actually, here's a better idea. If you've ever played Minecraft, the world, like a Minecraft world, is generated around Minecraft seeds. So seed 1 will look completely different from seed 2, and that's because it's randomly generated. What are your thoughts about India? I have never been to India before. I would have to go to India to give you like a proper opinion. I'd have to go to India, right? Because I could say like different things that I've heard, but otherwise I wouldn't know for certain, you know? I also don't follow Indian news, or like news in India. I do have a couple Indian friends though, but they don't really talk about India. Now, so we've covered value, which is the origin point. We've covered random seed, which is like the pattern that you work with. So even just changing my pattern to 1, even just changing the pattern to 1 will change completely. Will change completely how the perturb affects my text asset. So the other ones we have are strength, which is how much you want that value to change. You have speed, which is actually at the bottom here, and that's how fast you want that value to change with that strength. So how fast do I want it to go from 0.279 to 25? And then you have the wobble, which is how much do I want that speed to kind of increase or decrease, or how fast do I want changes to occur? And that's how we end up with kind of that shake with the angle. So if I disable this, right, or if I disable the zoom, you can still look and you can see that when the Hausa came up, it was starting on the left, and then by the time it came up, it was tilted to the left, and then by the time it came up, it started going right a little bit, and then the going is on the right already, and then it tilts a bit to the left and then stops. So overall, we end up with something that's looking like this, and I think I want to change the keyframes on the going just a little bit, because it's not perfectly matched up. And I'm looking at, we've got perturb, speed, strength, displacement, size, layout center. Layout center is our overall, here we go. Layout center is my overall transform. How to ask my doubts about DaVinci Resolve excluding YouTube Live because we're in a different timeline. YouTube has tons and tons of really, really good resources. So if you were to look up YouTube tutorials on Fusion, for example, there's 4 or 5 different guys who know their stuff and they've got a ton of content. Same with color. So for Fusion, for example, you've got Patrick Sterling, and I'll put his name in the chat here. You've got Patrick Sterling for color. You've got Kazi, the Kazman. So the first one that I sent you, that one is for Fusion. The second one I sent, that one is for color. And then you have, I believe, Casey Ferris, I think is this. How am I spelling that? Let me double check, make sure I have that correct. Ferris with an E. Here we go. Casey Ferris. So that last one is going to be your best general tutorial guy. So first one, Fusion. Second one, color page. Third one, general tutorials. Yeah, most people don't delve too deep into what YouTube has to offer, but there's so many incredible free resources. Yeah, here we go. So now we have this recreated. Let me make sure that the text, yeah, the text is also animated. And I think I want this one to be a little bit bigger and then come down a little bit more. Nice. Yeah, glad I could help. Yeah. Maybe not. Okay, maybe not that big. I'll bring it down a tiny bit. How's it going? Yeah, just like that. Actually, no, we're gonna bring that. I've changed my mind. I don't particularly want it being too big. And then I think we have motion blur. We have motion blur somewhere here. I just don't remember where it is. We've got shear, we've got size. Oh, this is also 720p, which is something I need to remember. Now, motion blur. Motion blur adds on motion trails, motion blur. Here we go. Motion blur is a little, it's like icing on the cake, kind of. Motion blur. Oh, I forgot to wish you good night. Yeah, don't stay up as late as you can handle, but always remember to take care of yourself, because you do not, like, the last thing you want to do is jeopardize your health. Because if you don't have your health, then you don't have a lot. Small, medium. So motion blur is like the icing on the cake for a lot of stuff. And what I'm going to do is add on just a tiny bit, because you can see how far we can push this. I'm going to add on just a little bit. Project to small. Let's see. No, I don't want that. Medium. I think large is I think large is the way to go. But I also don't particularly like if I just put estimation type none. Okay, that's gonna give me that. Faster is gonna give me this. Tomorrow, a live session. Yep. Now I don't go live every day. Oh, here we go. Advanced controls. I do go live from time to time. Towards next frame from previous frame. Here we go. And then let's see what we get. Yeah, we're gonna want like that. And then let's see what this looks like without versus with. Yeah, just little tiny touches. That's what makes the difference. Take care, Ganesh. We'll see you hopefully in the next one. So boom, motion blur. We've got that in there now. And then the last thing that we need is a transform. One more transform to size it all out. Because we have this and then it goes zoop. Yeah. Looks like it switches angle ever so slightly. And then away it goes. Now, we could do this with the merge, because the merge has a whole bunch of transform controls. Right? The merge has a ton of stuff. But I always recommend using a transform, because if I suddenly want to move the transform controls overall to somewhere else, then I would need to move my merge, and now I'm stuck with having something that has a background and a foreground input, and all those transform controls are only being applied to the foreground input. And if I disconnect this, right, doesn't work. That's why you always keep a transform for your transform controls. So we're going to add a size. I think I want to add an overall angle to this and an overall transform, because I'm looking at our reference and it looks like there's just a tiny bit of difference. Yeah. How's it going? Maybe not that. Maybe not that much. There we go. And then we're going to size. We're going to leave the size alone for now. We are going to angle, because it looks like the whole thing twists a little bit. Then we're adding our size keyframe. Boom, boom, boom. Down to 0. Boom, boom, boom. Down to 0. And that's how we end up going from this, or going from there to here. How's it going? Whoop. So this is one. And what I need to do now is take all these, copy them, and then unlock this. We're going to turn on Fusion. We're going to turn on our Fusion composition, throw this into our media one. Boom. Now I've got that. And that's saved as a Fusion composition. How's it going? Now this one's moving much, much faster. Oh, that's because, I know exactly why that happened. That's because this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. We made this in a 30 frames a second timeline. And the playback is at 60 frames a second. So this is moving twice as fast as it's supposed to. Which means that I need to stretch this out to here. And then what I'm going to do is take all this. I'm going to disconnect everything. Turn this into a compound clip, go into compound, here we go, compound clips, go into my media pool. I'll move this out into the master bin. I'm gonna put this in here. Then I can get rid of that and go into my fusion composition, back into my media pool, drag my compound clip over, and merge this back in here. Realistically, I should have just avoided this mistake. But now I can do this, and I can take a look, see where everything needs to be adjusted to. Because this is going way too fast, you can see. So that actually comes up at proper speed. Oh no, wait, that does not come up at proper speed. I want this to be reaching here. So the keyframes themselves are fine. It's just the keyframe timing. That's what's off. Which and that's why we thank God for the keyframe editor. Because we are going to drag this out to here and here. I'm going to drag a window over top of all these. For some reason, I can't grab this. Oh, that's my perturb speed. That's why. That needs to come up. Stop about here. And then it's going to go down. So the size one, which is right here, needs to come over to here and then go in. Oh, actually that one does not need to go in. It'll be the overall transform. But I am going to go to, yeah, here we go, our transform. So let me select transform here, go, that's angle, and then that size. We're going to go to here, this over, angle, and then drag this out all the way, drag this out all the way to the end. And I'll probably have to zoom in for this because it does not seem to want to move on its own. Or I'll even do this. Drag that up, drag this out. Move this right over. And so now, when I am showing this, now we size in properly. Whoop. So now that the big transform has been taken care of, right, I can move that out of the way. Media in I don't need to worry about. We're going to leave bottom text out of here. It's going to be top text first. So I'm going to move this forward by 1. These are good. Working at about the same area, or they're going at about the same pace. Mine is slightly faster, which I can fix. It's a little bit of spline editing. And then now I move to the bottom text. Excuse me, and I'm going to start by moving everything over. I'll move it all over, yeah, just by 1. And move my other size displacement keyframe over. Boom, just like this. To here. How's it going? Now we're looking a lot better. So, all that's left, we're going to go to our layout angle for top text, and I want to make sure that these are coming in at the same time. So, I'm actually going to bend this in a little bit to make sure that everything is staying together. There we go. Next is bottom text. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get rid of the layout angle, speed, size. This one actually seems to be pretty good. So I might not even need to move this one. Look at that. All right. And so now we're actually looking proper. So I can remove the merge and the media 1, plug this directly into the media out. We'll get rid of that, and now if I get rid of this, how's it going? Boom, boom, and in they go. No, one other little touch. That looks pretty linear. I was gonna say we might make an adjustment to the size animation, but it looks pretty linear. I don't think there's anything else that I need in there. Whoop. Yeah, I think we're good. I'm going to disconnect the merge. I'll actually leave this in the foreground input. And I think we'll end it off there, because I think everyone who is watching will have a good general idea on how this was made, and a pitfall to avoid, which is if your timeline is in 60 frames per second, don't make something that uses a 30 frame per second frame rate. Or if you do, extend things out by about 50%. But yeah. All right, we're going to end it here. Thank you everyone for joining in. Menlo, Ganesh, we'll see you guys later. And until then.